webpage. You could put it on the webpage. You could send home a piece of paper with the kids, I guess, too.
And what would the link be?
Would
it be that thing? Or I mean,
it would be one. It would be like one of those, yeah.
It would. Okay.
It would be unique to them.
Yeah, it's unique to. It wouldn't be that exact one. It'd be you'd make your specific one would have its own link.
Okay.
You could put it on Power School for assignments, possibly.
Possibly, I bet yes. In the extra, you could with the extra info part of Power School, you could absolutely. I haven't thought about that. That's a good idea. So if you had that's a great idea actually. I'm gonna steal that. But if you're doing an assignment for the kids, like a quiz or a test, checking this one's usually a good idea. Automatically collect respondents' Grand Forks Public Schools username. If you don't want it to be anonymous and you want to know who sent it, that's probably smart to do, because you can make a question that asks them their name, but they can also just make that up too. Like my first period teaching, if there's a Mickey Mouse, which would probably happen, you know, whatever. So if you do that, they can't fake their email that they're using. So if you check that, sure, they might put someone else's name or put something like Roger Rabbit or whatever, but you're gonna have their actual email that they can't.
When they open this, do they see this and know that?
No.
They wouldn't know that part, that their email address, but you could tell them that too. Show progress bar at the bottom of form pages. That would be if you wanted them to know how far along on the form they are, like it's a 30-question thing, and you wanted them to know that they're 2/3 done. You could click that. Only allow one response per person. If you only want them to be able to do it once and not be able to come back and do it again, then you click that. If you don't click that, then they could do it, come back later that day and do it again, which you may or may not want them to be able to do. It depends on your choices. You could also shuffle the question order, which would be, if you are in close quarters like this here, and you wanted kids not to be able to cheat off each other as easily, that would be a smart thing to do, because then, someone's on question 1 while someone's on 15, it's way harder to cheat and follow along. So those are all options that you have before you even start. Then to make a question, you have a couple choices. You notice there are a lot of different types of questions that I gave you in that one, in the quiz that you took. You have multiple choice, which if you want it to be graded automatically is one of your best options. If you wanted to be able to have it automatically graded, that's a good option. Text would be if you wanted a short answer, like a 1-2 word, maybe up to a sentence. Paragraph text is what like it looks like if you wanted a longer essay type question. Multiple choices, there's one right answer. Check boxes where they could check more than one. It's the same thing as multiple choice, but they can click 5, 6, 7 of the options. It might be a longer list where they have to click 5 of them. Choose from a list would be a drop-down menu, kind of basically the same thing as multiple choice, just in a different form where they have a drop-down menu to pick the one they want. Scale would be if you wanted them to rank something on a scale of 1 to 10. How much do you like this? Grid was the one I gave you about how often do you eat in the cafeteria, how often do you use technology in the classroom. That's where you can have different rankings for a whole bunch of questions at the same time, where often, very often, sometimes, and so on, and you can have a whole bunch of questions in that same grid question. That'd be good for like a survey type one. Date is the one I use for the oldest relative one. That could be used in history, I suppose, if you wanted them to be able to type a date and not have to worry about them typing in the right format. There's only one option. There's only one option for that.
And you can vary how that is. You can just have year. You don't have to have any. It doesn't come. Does it come pre-ready in that form, or can you change it?
Well, let's check. I don't use the date one very often, to be quite honest. Let's see. Month, day. I think it has to be the month, day, and year.
So you might be better off with a text box, or you think like
Right.
periods?
Yeah, or something.
If it's just a year, you probably want to just have a text box then. But if it's like, if you wanted to know the exact date the Declaration of Independence was signed or something, then you could use this. It would also be good for surveys if you wanted to know like the day someone was born. you know, their birth date, that would work for that one. And then there's also time, which could be, again, more for a survey if you wanna know what's the best time to reach you or something, maybe, or between what hours would you like to be contacted, something like that. Might be when you would use that if you're, or when's your prep hour or something like that, I don't know. But let's pretend I'm doing let's pretend I want to know, I always start out with their name, personally, but you don't have to. If you're collecting their username, you don't have to, but I like to do their last name, first name, and period if I'm doing an assignment or a quiz. And so to do that, you do a text question and just literally type in last name, and you click on, if you want them to have to answer that before they submit, then click on that little required question box, and then done. And your first question will be done. Now after you make your first question, you click on this add item. If you just click on it, it's gonna make, looks like a default choice, but if you wanted to choose the type of question you want before it pops up, you know, you have all those choices, the text, paragraph, multiple choice, check boxes, choose from a list, scale, grid, date, time. You can also add things that aren't questions, but you might want like a section header, page break, if you wanted to be start a new page, an image, if you wanted a picture, or a video. I didn't add a video in the one I gave you just because there was so many copyright issues I didn't want to even try. But if you had something that was not copyrighted and all that stuff, you could.
And there's a standard size that they use for the image and everything, or do you?
Well, you can add anything. Like let's say if I add an image, it's whatever you have on your hard drive already. You could download them to your hard drive and put it in. It's like I have this picture of my son here, so I could post that in there. And it's a big picture. I mean, that's a large one. Yeah, he's cute enough.
And then are you able to size that? Yeah.
It's actually like 2 now. That's an old picture.
And are you able to bring that down, or?
It's a good question. Once you have it, I would think you would need to do that beforehand, like when you, I think you have to just try and find a smaller picture, or you can edit them like with like a picture editing one, but I'm not really as familiar with how to change the size of a picture as easily.
But it doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, the
No.
size of the picture, you're just looking at it and moving to the next question.
Right, it might be, you might have
Print it out.
an example of when you might use this. Like let's say you wanted to, okay, like I like this picture, so I'm gonna keep it, so I'm gonna click on done. But let's say I wanted to say use this above a picture to answer the next 2 questions or something. You know, and so then I could add a section header, and I would say use the above picture for the next 2 questions or something. Kind of like I had I had that picture with the Lego things to use the following picture to answer the question. That might be when you use a header.
Okay, now on what he just mentioned here, if you wanted to print it out, can you print this stuff out?
Yep.
You can, okay.
You can print it. It's not gonna format beautifully, you know, it's gonna be just kind of what it's gonna just print exactly what you see here, so without, but that would be a good option if you don't have everyone with a computer. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Like in the middle school, we have one-to-one, but there's always the kids that forget it or lose it, so it's an option for those kids. So, you can print it off, but it's probably gonna print off on several pages, but it would absolutely be a good option. Let's see here. You know, for multiple choices and check boxes, you can put as many options as you want. If you want to have 30 options for multiple choice, you could. If you want to have 2 options, you can. You just keep on typing, you know, you just keep on typing and it'll keep on giving you more options if you want more, you know. So that's had you have that nice flexibility to do that. Let's pretend that I'm done and I like my quiz and I'm ready to share it, there's a couple options at the bottom of the page. Once you're done and you're ready to go and you've made your quiz or your survey and you're ready to go, there's you can show a link to submit another response. If you want them to be able to do it again, you can have. If you don't want them to be able to submit another response, you can uncheck that. If you want to publish and show a public link to the form results, you would check that. Like if you want them to be able to see the results of everyone. So for a quiz, probably not so much, but if it was a survey that you want everyone to see, maybe, then you could click on that. And then allow respondents to edit responses after submitting. That would be as if you wanted to them be able to redo it, basically.
But if
Like,
you don't want any of those,
just don't check any of them.
okay, so then it just comes to you.
Right.
Okay.
Now, to send it, there's a couple ways that you can do it. There is, if you, when you're ready and you're done and you want to send this to someone and share it, you click on this top right-hand corner, the send form. And the link here to share is right there. You have to highlight it and click on Command Command C. That's going to copy. That's going to make a link to share. It's going to be longer than that one, but if you're sending an email, it's not going to matter so much. If you wanted like kids to be able to type it, this is going to be a really long one. So then that's where you might want to go to that goo.gl, go to Command V.
How did you go there? I'm sorry.
Oh, you just have to go to, it's a different website.
Oh.
goo.gl. It's a URL shortener. It's a web address shortener. It's so that if you look how long this is up here,
Yeah.
that's like really long. That kid's never gonna get that right. That's gonna take your whole period for them to get that. So if you are going to be writing the form on the board, then I would recommend getting to shorten it like that. And that's where you just go to that goo.gl and shorten it. There are other options. If all of your students are on Google Apps already, which they should have that, and if they have their devices on them, then there's some even better options. Or if you have if you use Google Classroom, it's really easy. I don't know, they don't use Google Classroom in here. It's really easy to do in Google Classroom. You just share it in you just click on add and you just make it an assignment or share it as an announcement, copy and paste there. If you don't have that, then the simplest way would be to make a contact group. So I'm going to show you how that would work. If you already have a contact group made, like I do, all you have to do is type whatever you name that contact group, and it's going to send it to everyone. Like me, my team at Schrader Middle School is the Eagles, and so I have a contact group that has every single one of my students in that group. I also have contact groups for each individual period. So like period 1, or period 4, period 7. I could send it to just one period or any of them. And it's really simple to make that type of group, and I'll show you how to do that. But that would be, if you wanted to put a little bit of work at the beginning of the year, but it's not that long, you're looking at, you just have to have all the names of your students. You're looking at probably, half an hour of typing, and then you have all these groups just made and ready to go.
Can you pull them off from the office, and do they have those emails of all the kids?
We don't need the emails even.
the name.
You just need the name. So if you just have your class list, you can get it.
So
So
class roster and.
right, class roster, and you're good to go. The only issue might be is if there happens to be someone with the exact same name in the district, then you might have to figure out which one is the one that you have. That's the only time it might be.
Could we go to wherever we go to
Yep.
make a contact list?
Absolutely. So I need you to get back into your Google Drive, okay?